Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers allude that Willow Kane may learn Jen Sidwell bought and killed Judge Eva Heran. Will Willow listen in on the villain as he gloats to Drew Kane and deliver some new pitfalls? In the December 29th occasion, Sidwell will indeed rein Drew for an critical meeting. That'll give Sidwell a chance to deliver a fierce warning and remind Drew that he's calling the shots. That same occasion will bring a major discovery for Willow. Spoilers say Willow's going to uncover a secret, so could she hear in on Drew and Sidwell's heated battle? Drew knows Sidwell ordered Judge Heran's fatal outgrowth, so they may readdress that fact during their forthcoming sweepstakes. Maybe Sidwell will contend that's what happens to OVERHEARS and advise Drew not to let himself face an analogous demise. Sidwell might indeed bewail about buying the guardianship outgrowth through his fix to Judge Heran. Perhaps Sidwell will advise that he could toss further plutocrat around and make Willow's trial go the way he wants, too. Jury members can be bought and hovered just like judges can. Sidwell might prompt Drew to stay on his good side unless he wants Willow to land in Pentonville due to another bribery situation. Nethermost line, we know Sidwell will hang Drew while Willow learns a secret. It's easy to imagine those two spoilers fitting together. This could lead to Willow's explosive discovery if she finds out Sidwell is the reason she lost her kitties. If Willow does find out Sidwell bought Judge Heran to rule in Michael Corinthos' favor, defying him might be a bad idea. Sidwell proved how dangerous he's by how he dealt with Judge Heran in the end. Of course, Willow has come awfully impulsive recently, so there's no prognosticating how she might reply then. Willow could make her presence known and blow up at Sidwell, which could put her own life at threat along with Drew's. Whatever the case, General Hospital spoilers suggest Willow might get tangled up in some Drew and Sidwell drama soon, so stick with us for updates on any jaw-dropping news she might discover. General Hospital spoilers and updates tease that Willow Tate Kane might take one step towards redemption by an act of kindness and Christmas spirit. Might she defy Drew Kane's orders, and take Scout Kane to see her grandma and aunts? Willow will try to get Drew to change his mind. Willow looked shocked when Drew made it a point to veritably intimately deny Alexis Davis any contact with Scout over the leaves and cast a sympathetic look at her. Willow is inhuman indeed, though she has a sneaky side smattered with a touch of vindictiveness, and she's only letting Drew suppose that he's controlling her. She most surely has a mind of her own, and she needs to do commodity to show she still has a heart. After all, she doesn't want to appear as a killer. Before she attempts anything drastic, she'll maintain with Drew to have a heart, and consider Scout's passions by cutting her off from Alexis and her daughters. He cuts her off from her late mama. It's bad enough Drew's cut her off from her closest tie to the late Sam McCall, her family Danny Morgan. Drew most likely will remain undecided. Drew most probably will remain undecided, because Alexis failed to get Willow vindicated, and didn't prove Michael Corinthos shot him because of his abomination for his whoreson. Willow might play sympathetic and understanding of Drew's decision, but the trial isn't over yet. The judge adjourned court until after the leaves. After all, since Willow went through with the legal marriage to Drew this time around, that makes her fairly Scout's mammy. That means she has rights if she's raising Scout, along with Drew rights to opinions concerning Scout's wheel, including her emotional wheel. It's only just been a bit over a time since Sam failed, and Scout is surely still grieving being cut off from her motherly cousins. Just digs the cutter deeper in her heart. Willow will need to produce a diversion or excuse, maybe take Scout to see Santa. Obviously, Willow will need to produce a diversion or reason, maybe taking Scout to see Santa, or she could tell Drew she's taking her shopping for new clothes, a girl's thing. After all, indeed though Scout adores Willow formerly, and the feeling's collective, she needs to fill a gap. She may indeed mention filling a gap left by Alexis and her aunts. It's a good possibility that if she's suitable to move Drew to just but out of their girls' only day, she'll do the shopping trip. And after the shopping trip, she may just take Scout and drop by Alexis' house and hope she's home, along with Christina Corinthos Davis and Molly Lansing Davis. Of course, she'll have to swear Scout to secretiveness, although she may not be sure how to explain why she has to. Christmas Day appropriation, but we can still give you this skulk peep of Friday, December 26th's occasion. Laura Collins makes a pledge, Ava Jerome and Lucy Coe clash, and Willow Kane pleads with Drew Kane. Christmas Day preemption. Christmas Day, GH will be pirated for NBA basketball, the Cleveland Gentlemen will play the New York Knicks, followed by the San Antonio Spurs playing Oklahoma City Thunder. However, enjoy your vacation in your customary manner, and look forward to the Port Charles action that will be on Friday, if you're not a basketball addict. In addition to the highlights of Friday's occasion bandied then, many other effects be also Tracy Quartermaine will miss Monica Quartermaine, while Jen Sidwell holds a grand soiree at Windermere Castle. Plus, Jordan Ashford will make an observation. Molly gives her mama advice at Alexis Davis's house. Molly Lansing Davis gives her mama some advice. She tells her she tried her way, why not give theirs a try? What might Molly be pertaining to? Surely she's not giving her mama advice for work, like commodity to try in the courtroom. On the other hand, unborn GH spoilers reveal Alexis will try a new strategy when court reconvenes, so maybe it's about Willow's trial. After all, mama and son are both attorneys, they presumably engage in shop talk every formerly in a while. As long as they're not facing each other in the courtroom on a particular case. Laura makes a promise at their home. Laura makes a pledge to Kevin Collins in front of their Christmas tree, and he'll show his gratefulness. Laura promises that she won't let her rage against Sidwell spoil their leaves. Laura, along with Sonny Corinthos, are in a veritably sticky situation thanks to Sidwell's blackmail with prints of the late Henry Dalton in Laura's box, with the two standing there. Kevin is veritably humane and pious to his woman. And for that, Laura is veritably thankful. It's presumably for the stylish that they didn't show up at Sidwell's soiree, and are spending their Christmas at home. Tracy and Michael talk at the Quartermaine mansion. In the meantime, Tracy is talking to Michael Corinthos at the Quartermaine manse. She asks him if he made the phone call they bandied. Considering she's missing Monica this first Christmas season without her, might it be in respects to commodity concerning the late Quartermaine dame? Commodity special to flashback Monica would be veritably applicable, indeed, though they've slightly gotten past her burial. Michael and Tracy have commodity they're cooking up. To be sure, Willow pleads with Drew. Willow will maintain with Drew about redefining letting Scout Kane see her motherly cousins for the leaves, after his outburst at Alexis following court. Probably she'll try to get him to see his son's point of view, although he'll presumably still remain stubborn. For Drew, he seems to be using his son as a pawn to get Alexis to do what he wants in the court case, which clearly isn't right. The two stand in front of the Christmas tree and they may have reached the end of an argument or disagreement over Scout. Willow concedes to Drew, telling him he's her father, and it's his decision. Sonny and Ned bandy Joe's gift. Sonny and Ned Quartermaine bandy the violin that they went in on together to buy for Gio Palmieri. It's ready, and it's waiting, but they're staying to give it to him until when Gio is ready. Gio was veritably traumatized when he broke his violin on stage at the Nurser's Ball and gave up his music. But it's hard to believe he's given up music ever. He just has lately come to accept that he was espoused and that Dante Falconeri and Brooklyn Quartermaine are his birth parents. Sonny tells Ned, who smiles in agreement, we'll know when the time is right. As the festive lights twinkle over Port Charles, the spirit of peace and goodwill is in short supply within the city's most powerful circles. For Willow Tate Kane, the holiday season represents not joy, but a crucible, a moment where a single act of defiance could either begin to cleanse her tarnished soul or plunge her deeper into a web of lethal danger. Simultaneously, a shadowy figure from the past tightens his grip on the present, weaving threats and bribes that threaten to unravel lives and end others. The final days of the year promise not celebration, but confrontation, where whispered secrets and desperate pleas could alter destinies forever. A mother's plea and a step toward grace. The recent courtroom battle has left scars that extend far beyond the judge's bench. For Willow, the public spectacle of her trial for the death of her former husband, Aidan, is a constant humiliation. Yet, it is a quieter, more personal cruelty that pricks at what remains of her conscience. Witnessing Drew Kane's harsh, public edict, barring his young daughter, Scout, from any holiday contact with her maternal grandmother, Alexis Davis, and aunts Christina and Molly, struck a dissonant chord. The sympathetic glance she cast Alexis in that moment was unscripted and revealing. Willow is a complex tapestry of contradictions, capable of vindictive scheming yet not wholly heartless, appearing submissive to Drew's control while fiercely guarding her own autonomy. She understands that to the world, and perhaps to herself, she must begin to counter the narrative of being a merciless killer. An act of covert kindness towards Scout presents a path to tentative redemption. Before any drastic measures, she will appeal directly to Drew's paternal empathy. Her argument is poignant. By severing Scout's ties to Alexis, he is severing her most tangible connection to her late mother, Sam McCall, a loss compounded by Drew's earlier isolation of Scout from her brother, Danny Morgan. As Scout's legal stepmother, Willow asserts her right to advocate for the child's emotional welfare, emphasizing that a young girl's grief should not be weaponized in a parental grudge. Drew, however, is likely to remain an immovable force. His bitterness toward Alexis for failing to secure Willow's exoneration and prove Michael Corinthos's culpability runs deep. He views his isolationist stance as both punishment and leverage. Willow, playing the part of the understanding wife, may outwardly concede. But the recessed trial and her new marital status have forged a silent resolve. She will need a clever ruse, a proposed girls' day of shopping or a festive visit to Santa. Should Drew relent, her true destination will be Alexis's doorstep, offering Scout a stolen moment of familial comfort. This clandestine mission, requiring her to swear a confused child to secrecy, is fraught with risk but driven by a need to prove her humanity, both to Scout and to herself. A gathering storm, gloating and grave warnings. While Willow plots her small act of rebellion, a far more sinister plot is reaching its apex. The enigmatic and ruthless Jen Sidwell, having already orchestrated the murder of Judge Eva Heran to silence her, is far from finished. In the December 29th episode, he corners Drew Kane for an urgent meeting. This is no diplomatic discussion, it is a calculated demonstration of power. Sidwell will deliver a fierce warning, a stark reminder that he alone is calling the shots in Port Charles. Their confrontation is destined to revisit Sidwell's most heinous crime. He may coldly reference Judge Heran's fate as the inevitable outcome for those who become liabilities, implying Drew could meet a similar end if he steps out of line. Most damningly, Sidwell is likely to gloat about his corruption of the justice system, admitting he bribed Judge Heran to secure the custody ruling in Michael Corinthos's favor. His threats will extend ominously into the future. With a villain's arrogance, he could warn that jurors, like judges, are susceptible to bribes and intimidation. If Drew does not remain compliant, Sidwell could simply toss more money around to ensure Willow's trial concludes with a guilty verdict and a sentence to Pentonville. For Drew, the message is a horrifying ultimatum: his wife's freedom is a commodity Sidwell can purchase or revoke at will. An eavesdropped secret and a potential cataclysm. This very confrontation may set the stage for a seismic shift. Concurrent spoilers reveal that Willow is poised to uncover a major secret. It is chillingly easy to imagine these threads converging. Willow, perhaps while preparing for or returning from her secretive outing with Scout, overhears the heated exchange between Drew and Sidwell. The explosive truth, that Sidwell's bribery is the direct reason she lost custody of her children, would detonate her fragile world. The revelation would be catastrophic. The loss of her sons has been Willow's defining agony, and to learn it was not a legitimate legal defeat but a crime perpetrated by a wealthy manipulator could unleash a fury beyond her control. Given her recent history of impulsivity, a calm, strategic response is unlikely. The danger is palpable. Should she storm into the room, confronting Sidwell in a blaze of rage, she would not only shatter Drew's precarious negotiations but also sign her own death warrant. Sidwell has already proven he eliminates problems with fatal efficiency. Willow's life, and potentially Drew's, would be in immediate, grave peril. A Port Charles Christmas, promises and patience amidst the turmoil. While these storms gather, the rest of Port Charles navigates its own holiday trials. Due to a Christmas Day preemption for NBA basketball, the drama unfolds on Friday, December 26th. The festive facade is thin. At home, Laura Collins makes a heartfelt promise to her husband, Kevin, vowing not to let her all-consuming rage against Sidwell, fueled by his blackmail over Henry Dalton's death, poison their holidays. It is a promise of love and resilience in the face of terror. Across town, family dynamics simmer. At Alexis's home, her daughter Molly offers professional advice, likely hinting at the new legal strategy Alexis will employ when Willow's trial resumes. Tracy Quartermaine, mourning her first Christmas without matriarch Monica, conspires with Michael Corinthos about a mysterious phone call, a plotline rooted in legacy and memory. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos and Ned Quartermaine exhibit rare patience, holding on to a gifted violin for the traumatized musician Gio Palmieri, wisely agreeing, "We'll know when the time is right." The crossroads of fate. As the year draws to a close, Willow Kane stands at a profound crossroads. One path, illuminated by a risky act of kindness towards Scout, offers a glimmer of redemption. The other, darkened by the shadow of Jen Sidwell's corruption and her own potential discovery, leads toward vengeance and mortal danger. The plea she makes to Drew about Scout's heart may soon be eclipsed by a more desperate struggle for survival. Whether her eavesdropping leads to a silent, strategic fury or a catastrophic confrontation, one truth is undeniable: Willow is on a collision course with the man who destroyed her family. And in Port Charles, where secrets are the currency of power and threats are sealed with more than words, such a collision is sure to send shockwaves through the new year. The holiday season may bring a temporary pause, but the forces set in motion promise that when the calendar turns, the battle for truth, freedom, and vengeance will begin in earnest. The gilded ornaments and twinkling lights of Port Charles do little to warm the chill that has settled in its residents' hearts this holiday season. For some, the Christmas spirit is a distant memory, replaced by the cold calculus of vengeance and control. For others, it represents a fragile, final chance, a whispered plea for redemption in a world turning increasingly dark. As the year draws to a close, three powerful forces collide: a desperate act of defiance that could be a spiritual baptism, the dangerous encouragement of a villain's gloating words, and the eruption of angry threats that promise to redefine the coming year in blood and fury. The stage is set not for a silent night, but for a seismic shift where families are torn asunder, secrets scream to be heard, and the line between salvation and damnation is perilously thin. Part 1. Baptism begins Willow's defiant path to a fractured grace. For Willow Tate Kane, the concept of grace feels like a taunt. Branded by the public as a killer, entangled in a legal battle for her freedom, and bound in a marriage of chilling convenience to Drew Kane, she moves through her days like a specter in her own life. The verdict in her murder trial looms, a suspended sword, but it is a quieter, more intimate injustice that finally stirs the embers of her stifled conscience. Witnessing Drew's very public, vitriolic denial of Alexis Davis's plea to see her granddaughter, Scout, over the holidays was a watershed moment. The look she exchanged with Alexis wasn't one of triumphant alliance with her husband, but of shared, horrified understanding. In that glance, a baptism of resolve began, a cleansing away of passive compliance, initiated by the fire of maternal empathy. Willow's character is a landscape of contradictions, eroded by loss and hardened by circumstance. She possesses a strategic, even sneaky mind, capable of the vindictiveness she displayed in her feud with Michael. Yet, beneath the layers of survival instinct and performed loyalty to Drew, a fundamental humanity persists. She is playing a long game, allowing Drew to believe he holds the reins of her will, all the while guarding the last sovereign territory she has left, her own moral compass. Her defense of Scout is not merely an act of rebellion against Drew, it is a critical, personal mission. To be seen as a killer in the eyes of the law is one thing, to be complicit in the emotional crucifixion of a grieving child is a sin her soul cannot abide. She must prove, to Scout and to herself, that the woman who once cherished her own children is not entirely dead. Her approach will be a masterclass in careful escalation. First, she will employ encouraging words, not of confrontation, but of compassionate persuasion. She will appeal to Drew not as an adversary, but as a fellow parent, framing her argument around Scout's palpable grief. She's lost her mother, Drew, Willow might plead, her voice a careful blend of warmth and reason. Cutting her off from Alexis, from Christina, and Molly, it's like severing her last living tether to Sam. We can be angry at the world, but we cannot make Scout's heart our battlefield. She will leverage her new, legal title as Scout's stepmother, asserting a rightful stake in the child's holistic welfare, a welfare currently bleeding out from emotional neglect. Drew's response, however, is predicted to be an immovable wall of bitter conviction. His grudge against Alexis for failing to exonerate Willow and expose Michael is all-consuming. He views Scout not just as a daughter, but as the ultimate pawn in his campaign of retribution against everyone who failed him. His refusal will be absolute, likely couched in a rhetoric of protection and paternal authority. This expected denial is the final catalyst for Willow's baptism into active defiance. The encouraging words of reason having failed, she moves to a sacred conspiracy. The girl's day out is her confessed excuse, a proposed shopping trip or a festive visit to see Santa. It is a mundane, believable cover for a pilgrimage. The real journey is to the Davis home, a haven from the icy control of the Kane penthouse. The moment she guides Scout across that threshold into the arms of her grandmother and aunts, Willow commits her sacrament. It is an act fraught with peril. She must ask a young girl to keep a secret from her father, a heavy burden. Yet, in doing so, she offers Scout a far greater gift, the unconditional love of family, a reminder of her mother, and a demonstration that kindness can still exist in the shadows. For Willow, this is her baptism by fire, a choice that could burn her marriage to the ground but might just save her from becoming a monster in her own story. Part 2, Encouraging Words, the Villain's Gospel and a Whispered Revelation. While Willow seeks grace in secret, another, more sinister form of encouragement is being preached in the halls of power. Jen Sidwell, the architect of so much recent chaos, does not deal in empathy or redemption. His gospel is one of omnipotence, purchased with wealth and enforced with violence. His encouraging words are a perverse inspiration, designed not to uplift, but to instill utter, hopeless compliance.